This question is substring with concatenation of all words. So you are given a string S and also the string array words. Let me do this. So the concatenation string is a string that exactly contains all the string of any permutation of words, but only the permutation of the words inside the string array words, right? So A, B, C, D, E, F. So it will become A, B, C, D, E, F, so it's concatenation between A, B, C, D, E, F, or A, B, E, F, C, D, so A, B, then E, F, then C, D, or C, D, C, A, B, E, F, or this one, or this one. But that does not mean A, C, D, B, E, F. So A, C, D, B, E, F. So this is not a concatenation. So you want to concatenate only based on the words inside, not the character, you know. And then you want to return the array of starting indices of all the concatenated substring S. And the one tricky thing is, how do you know how many words inside the word? So for example, if I have another 4 in here, so that represents two of 4, right? And then what you need to do is you want to find out 2 of 4 plus a bar, or bar 2 of 4, right? Or 4 bar 4. That it has to be this pattern, possibly, and then you want to return indices. So the frequency for each word inside the string array words is pretty important. And one thing is, if you want to concatenate the string, right, then you have to know, like, it has to be a group of what? A group of concatenation in the string S. This is because this is length of string 3, right? So it has to be a length of string 3 group for each segment. So what you can do is, let me erase this. So what you can do is you only need to traverse from 0 to the length of the word. So for example, it's 3. So you only need to from here to here, and then once you traverse from here to here, you have to create a sliding window that is from here to here. And then for every single index, you will reset your I from here to here, or from here to here, and afterward it's going to be repeated, because you already have an I from here to here when the I was here. So it is increment based on the length of a word. So you don't need to keep traversing everything. You only need to traverse the length of a word from 0 to length of a word. So this is a trick to iterate everything. And then while you iterating, you want to make sure you have so I'm going to create a map for this. So it's going to be string and also integer. String represent a word, integer represent a frequency, and then you will also create another word create another map while you're traversing. So it's going to be tracking map, and you want to make sure this tracking map at the end will be equal to the map that you traverse the words. And then if everything is equal, then you already know, like, the starting indices will be from the I or else, because at this moment you know that every single word has been used in this sliding window, right? And then your window will move on. And definitely if you want to shrink the window, you want to make sure you remove the proper group of the length of a word from I or L, doesn't matter, and then you move on to the a smaller window, because there might be another word that has been used. So for example, if you have 444, right, and bar, something like this. So back to the example, if you have 204, so you have 204. While you traverse from here, right, and then at this moment, like, this is going to be what, 3 or 4, which is not ideal, because you only need 2 or 4, right? So you will definitely remove this 4 inside the tracking map, and then you will have a permutation or concatenated string from here to here. So that's the entire explanation. It's actually easier to follow the solution, and yeah, definitely try to implement on your own. So I will have a result is represent this of integer, and I will have a hash map string integer, and I'm just call it map, new hash map, and this is pretty much it. And I'm going to traverse the string words, and I'm just say map.merge the word, and then the frequency will be starting from 1, and then if there's a word inside the map, I'm just adding, so it's going to be sum. And then once this is finished, I'm going to find out how many total frequency for the words, right? So it's going to be words.length, and for every single word, so each word is going to be what? It's depending on the first word, right? Like, so I only need to traverse for I equal to 0, I less than words length I plus plus. So I only need to traverse for I to the words.length. So at this moment it's from 0 to 3, and it doesn't include in 3, so it's 0 to 2 technically, because every single index I will create a pair. I will create a substring that is length of words.length for my I and for my L and R. So in this example, I'm using the L. That will represent starting from I, and also the R represent I as well. And also the frequency that was starting from 0, which later on will compare with the total frequency. And I will have a while loop. So I will keep traversing with my R. My R will keep moving, and it will compare with a string of what? Length of s.length, right? So R plus word length, yes, less than equal to s.length. So when we're doing the substring, we want to make sure the last index doesn't include it, right? So for example, if we have s.substring R and R plus word length, now you know the last value, the last index doesn't include it. So that's why you need to have a less than equal, and this will represent the current word. Since I'm using the R to traverse, right? So R at this point, R will be I plus the words.length, which is going to be 3, and I'm going to increment my words length for my R. Okay, so what happens if this current word, if the current word does not in my map, which is like some random string, okay? So well, map doesn't contains T for my current word. The first thing is I no longer need the current window. Like this current window can be ignored. So I will update my L equal to R right away, because at the next iteration, next while loop, you'll have another new group of word, right? For the current word, you will have the new windows. And if you notice that you also need to have a tracking map to keep storing whatever the word you have while you traverse. So it has to, you have to have a tracking map here. So hash map will be string integer, and then that will represent tracking map in the new hash map. So when you are resetting, you are trying to reset the whole windows, right? You want to clear the map, and you can ignore whatever the logic behind it, afterward. And more importantly, since you change your windows, you want to reset your frequency back to 0, because at some point of time the frequency will also equal to the total frequency. Then at this point of time, you will add whatever the starting indices, which is going to represent L, into the result. Alright, so now should be pretty straightforward. If a map doesn't inside, if a current word does not inside a map, I'm going to reset it. So if this condition doesn't satisfy, then which means the current word is in a map, right? So that being said, my tracking map. So my tracking map will be add by the current word by 1, and if a current word has been inside the map, I will just add in. Else, I will just set it 1 by default, and I will increment my frequency because the current word is valid, which is in a map, right? And this is almost finished. However, if there's a scenario that you need to shrink your left pointer, which is like 3 or 4, and a bar, and then if you only have 4 bar like this, you want to make sure you won't ignore the first 4, right? So you want to shrink your left pointer. So while the tracking map that get the current word, which is greater, it has to be greater than the total map. So it's total map that get the current word. If this is greater, then you want to remove whatever the words in my tracking map and then shift your left pointer, right? So I cannot using the current word to remove. I need to find out where's my L, and then L plus. So this is the current word for R, right? I need to find out the same thing for my L, right? So string remove word will be this, but I want to replace R with L, and then now I want to take away. So it's going to be tracking map dot merge remove word, and then by -1. So at this moment you're using the sum, but you are -1. You subtract 1 inside the tracking map, and then while you're removing, you are definitely decrementing the frequency. And in this moment, the L has been used, so you want to add the gap, which is the word out length. You want to shrink, right? And that is pretty much it. So the reason why you are using a while loop is because what happens if you have this scenario and your string array is 4 bar, and then your current string is 4 bar, right? You want to keep shrink your a group of 3 for my left pointer. So that is pretty much the reason why you're using the while loop. So this should be the solution. Is there anything else? No. Let's try it. Time limit. So time limit, this will because I found out like this might not be the while loop, it should be the if scenario, because if a current word has been regenerated, right, you will immediately find out the current word is not in the map, then you continue. And yeah, this is the only things that I need to change. So it's not while, it's if, because the next while loop iteration will create another current word. If I change this to while loop, I need to update my current word inside the while loop, which is not ideal, right? So this should be the solution. Yes. Alright, so small mistake, but yeah, it's okay. For the space, this will be the space, and this will be the space. So the total space for this one, the worst case, you add every single word in the hash map. So it's consider all of n. N that will represent length of words, possibly, right? And so all of n for the words, and then this is going to be all of w, okay, all of w, and this is all of s, and this is all of w again, and this will be constant, pretty much it. So all of W time all of S, and that's it. That's for the time, and this is definitely all of M for sure. But all of S has to be greater than or greater or equal than all of N. So that is the time and space estimation. So yeah, this is the solution. Let me know if you have a question. See you later. Bye.